What's up, dude? Hello everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Happy Monday, first of all, Cyber Monday, I guess. I hope that everybody had a very happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you got to be around your family, or if you, I don't know, some people maybe don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but I hope that you got to spend the day doing whatever it is that you wanted to do, whatever makes you happy. I got to hang out with my family, which was really cool, and see my niece and nephew, who are just like the absolute light of my life. I love them so much, and we had such a fun day hanging out, so I hope that you guys did as well. I also got to go Black Friday shopping with my best friend, so that was great too. Always fun to see her when I can. But other than that, I really don't have anything to preface this video with, so I think we'll jump right into it. Gilbert Jeremy Gottfried was born on February 28th, 1955. If you don't know who he is, I'm pretty positive you at least know his voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you can hear the sound of my voice.
He grew up in the Coney Island section of the Brooklyn borough of New York City. His mother was a homemaker, and his dad actually owned a hardware store. While he was raised in a Jewish family, Gilbert stated that, "I ate pork. We weren't that aware of the holidays or anything like that, but we're aware of being Jewish. It's like I kind of knew that even though I was never bar mitzvahed and we didn't follow the holidays. I knew that if the shmashmis came back, I'd be in the same train coach with everyone else." It's kind of a interesting joke to make, I guess, but it's not my religion or my race, so I don't really have anything to say, or I don't have any opinions, I guess. Gilbert had two older sisters, and when he was just 15, he did his first routine on stage, his first stand-up. His sisters went with him because they were the ones who actually encouraged him to try stand-up for the first time. His early routines were a lot of impressions, actually. Like, he made jokes, but he was really good at impressions. On season 6 of Saturday Night Live, Gilbert was hired as a cast member since the show was being retooled with new staff and comedians. They were just kind of like revamping it a little bit, and Gilbert had actually been like on their radar as a comedian / writer to watch. He didn't speak in his high-pitched, screechy voice typically, and he didn't really squint like he does in his later routines, where he's kind of talking like this. And I mean, if you hear his voice, like, you know it's him. He actually was also on the show Cyber Chase, which if you were a PBS kid, you know him as Digit. Honestly, I used to love that show growing up because we didn't have regular TV. We had like farm TV. So we had 3 channels, and really only one of them actually worked, and then one of them was just like the static, and then the other one we had to use when we wanted to watch like a DVD or a VHS. That was that channel. So, and then we just got like the news, PBS. I mean, really just not great shows. My dad used to watch the Prairie Farm Report, I think it was. I don't know, there was some farming show that he really liked watching, and honestly, I was down bad for TV, so I would watch it with him sometimes too. For a year, Gilbert was also a performer on Alan Thicke's show, Thick of the Night. It only was on air for 1 year. It ran from 1983 to 1984. It really wasn't like a huge success. He was also in Seinfeld, as well as Beverly Hills Cop and Aladdin Jafar's Return. He does a lot of other stuff too. Like I said, he's a stand-up comedian, so he does live shows and whatnot. But let's get to basically why people take issue with him. Now, I know that comedians can kind of be a little bit of a touchy subject, because a lot of people say like, oh, well, it's just a joke. That's their job, is to kind of push the envelope and whatnot. And while I do agree, like, I like edgy comics and whatnot, there's some jokes that you just don't really do, I guess. I don't know. So in 1991, while presenting at the 43rd Primetime Emmy Awards, Gilbert made a bunch of self-pleasuring jokes in reference to Paul Rubin's arrest for self-pleasuring in an adult theater, which, oh my god, I might do a video on this for Wednesday, because that is a whole nother can of worms that we could get into, and I honestly am very surprised that I haven't done a video about that yet, but it's insane. So I'm not really going to go into detail for that because I think that's going to be Wednesday's video. Fun little sneak peek for you guys, I guess. So the audience in the Eastern time zone saw the whole set that Gilbert did live, but Fox managed to censor the broadcast for the West Coast delay. So I think it's like there's like a 5 to 30 second delay for live TV events because someone ended up getting unlived on live national television, and they were like, hey, we can't really have that anymore. So that's why they purposely put in that delay, so that way if something needs to be censored out, they can jump on it real quick and interrupt the broadcast, which really I think is genuinely a good idea. Like, I'm not for censorship or anything, but it's like there just are some things like getting unalived that maybe just don't need to be filmed for a live audience. Fox issued an apology about the jokes and said that they were irresponsible and insulting. Gilbert said that the producers told him that he wouldn't be invited back again, and Rolling Stone wrote that the monologue is what ended up blacklisting Gilbert. At the roast of Hugh Hefner, Gilbert made jokes about 9/11, despite it only happening 3 weeks before the roast for Hefner. So 3 weeks before 9/11 happens. And then he make jokes about it. I don't really like that one either. No, I know that like a lot of people make 9/11 jokes, and like that is just kind of its own category of humor, but this was actually the first like recorded version of it, I guess, like the first time it was recorded, and therefore it's kind of credited as being the first 9/11 humorous like joke, if that makes sense. So he tried to joke that he intended to catch a plane but couldn't get a direct flight because they said they have to stop at the Empire State Building first. Lovely. A vast majority of the audience hissed and yelled too soon. Luckily, he abandoned the rest of the 9/11 jokes after realizing that he lost the audience bigger than anybody has ever lost an audience. He won the crowd over again when he like just switched topics and moved on to something else. No, like, I mean, I know Family Guy makes a lot of 9/11 jokes and whatnot, which I don't really love those either, even though I am a fan of Family Guy and I do watch it. But the show's creator, Seth MacFarlane, like, he was scheduled to be on that flight. I can't remember exactly which one. I think it was one that hit the towers. He was supposed to be on that flight, and like him and Mark Wahlberg actually were both supposed to be on the same flight. But I'm not saying that makes it okay in any ways, but there's a more personal connection to it there. And I know that some people use humor as a way to like cope. I don't know, but I just feel like making jokes like that 3 weeks after a national tragedy is just, for me personally, I think it's just not okay. In March of 2011, Gilbert was in hot water once again when he tweeted not one, but 12 jokes about an earthquake disaster that happened in Japan. There's also a tsunami that happened with the earthquake. Now, at the time, he was doing the voice for the Aflac duck, and Aflac actually does 75% of their business in Japan. So you can imagine how well that went over. The company responded by firing Gilbert and recasting for the role of the duck, even though Gilbert had apologized for it. The new voice actor, Daniel McKeague, he does like an impression of Gilbert. He just kind of keeps up with the Aflac duck's like voice and just does the impression of Gilbert, so that way it's like there's some consistency and like continuity and whatnot. Aflac's spokesperson Michael Zuna said there is no place for anything but compassion and concern during these difficult times, which I agree. In later years, Gilbert appears on podcasts and he laughs at his own jokes about the earthquake disaster. Here is a clip of that.
Now, I got to talk about your commercials, of course. Now, there's many. MTV, Pepsi, Subway, Windows XP. And, of course, there's Aflac.
Yes.
Now.
Why, did something happen?
Aflac the Duck. You gotta check Twitter. You're the voices of Aflac the Duck for 11 years.
11, yeah.
2000 to 2011. This has to be the easiest money. Do you go in just one time and you did the voice? Or
No, you have to come in each time and keep recording it.
Right, keep it fresh.
And yes, because each commercial sounded so different.
Right.
So what eventually happened, they fired me.
So there was a tsunami in Japan. You might have heard about it. Now, at the time, do you realize that Aflac does 75% of their business in Japan?
I found that out soon enough. Oh, yeah.
Do you think they could have told you that?
I done found that out.
So the Twitter account, @RealGilbert, oh, believe me, he makes it clear, too. Oh, it's real. Not even Joe Schmo. I'm going to have fun on this. It's me, Real Gilbert. He writes, okay. Japan is really advanced. They don't go to the beach comes to them. What do the Japanese have in common with Howard Stern? They're both radioactive. What does every Japanese person have in their apartment? Floodlights. I just split up with my girlfriend, but like the Japanese say, there'll be another one floating by any minute now. I do remember he was tweeting so much, my lights started dimming. Yeah.
See, but you notice when you were reading the tsunami jokes, everybody here was laughing.
Yes, that's true.
And see, that's the thing.
That's what matters. You know what else?
Right. Yeah.
None of us were getting $1 million.
Yeah.
And also, we waited a good 48 hours after.
Oh, yes. Well, that always got me when they say too soon.
Why is it okay later?
Yeah, because it's like, you can make a joke about the Titanic now.
Right.
And it's like, I'm thinking, so if you make a joke about the Titanic now and you're a good person, because you didn't do it back then you're saying, okay, I waited, fuck those people who died on the Titanic.
I think the rule is, as long as the Red Cross is still looking for money specifically for that disaster, you got to wait on the jokes.
Right. If the 800 number pops on the TV every other hour.
Yeah.
Who do you use for insurance?
Progressive!
So you could do
Blue Cross Blue Shield!
You're very versatile. You would like people to know that.
Allstate!
Now that clip is from 2016, I believe. So, yeah. I don't think it's very tasteful, but I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up down below and consider subscribing to my channel. And like I said, I will be back on Wednesday with another video for you. Bye guys.